Hey there. Welcome to Good Advice Giver. First, we want to start by saying a massive thank you for tuning in today. Whether you're a long-time listener or you're joining us for the first time, we're truly grateful to have you here. We know you've got a lot of options when it comes to podcasts, so the fact that you're spending your time with us means the world. So, thank you.
That's right. We're excited to have you with us because here on Good Advice Giver, we cover just about everything. Whether you're interested in sports, relationships, sex, money, finances, business, digital marketing, music, education, movies, comedy, or something else entirely, we've got it all. No topic is off limits here, and we dive deep into real, meaningful conversations that matter.
We've also got a mix of male and female hosts, so you're always getting a well-rounded perspective on every topic we cover, from business strategies to personal development, from car shopping to digital products like affiliate marketing. We bring a little bit of everything to the table. Our goal is to offer advice, insights, and some laughs along the way to make sure you feel welcome and engaged, no matter what brought you here.
And it doesn't stop there. We're not just about giving great advice, we're about action. On this podcast, we even sell products and services we believe in, from affiliate marketing opportunities to cars and more. So whether you're looking to boost your business or find practical ways to improve your everyday life, you're in the right place.
As always, we want you to stay connected with us. Be sure to download this episode so you can listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're commuting, working out, or just relaxing. And while you're at it, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. That's the best way to stay in the loop for upcoming episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and even giveaways.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're posting extra content there, including video podcasts and deep dive discussions you won't want to miss. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what topics you want to hear more about.
Lastly, check out the link below in the description for exclusive offers, resources, and more ways to connect with us. We're here for you, and we can't wait to bring you more valuable content. Thanks again for tuning in to Good Advice Giver. Let's get started.
All right, let's get ready to dive in. We're tackling the Steelers versus Commanders game today.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
It is. And, I'm super excited because you sent over this fantastic analysis.
Well, I had a feeling you'd like this one.
It's amazing. Seriously, everyone listening, get ready because we're going to cover all the bases.
Everything you need to know.
Yes. So you can walk into any watch party, any bar, and just sound like a total football genius.
Exactly.
All right, so first things first.
Laying the foundation.
All right, let's talk about these teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Just that name, right?
Legendary.
It just screams defense. That steel curtain, all those Super Bowls.
6 Super Bowls, yeah. The Steelers have a history that's almost unmatched in the league.
Yeah.
That steel curtain defense is iconic, and it's like they're still living up to it today. They're tough, they're physical, and they'll just wear you down.
And then you've got the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
And I love how this analysis really gets into how they represent their city,
Oh, for sure. Washington, D.C., the Commanders, it's all about hard work. That never-back-down mentality, ups and downs over the years. But this season, they're looking dangerous.
They are. And both teams, let's not forget, they've got those hardcore fan bases.
Oh, yeah, totally. Some of the most dedicated fans in the league. This game's going to be electric.
Totally. Okay, so let's look at how they're playing this season. The analysis points out some really interesting things. The Steelers, they're all about that defense.
They are terrifying on defense, especially that pass rush. League leaders in sacks. And they love to bring the heat with that fire zone blitz. Quarterbacks have nightmares about that Steelers front seven. It's relentless.
But then on offense...
It's been a bit of a mixed bag, right?
Yeah, their quarterback, he's young, still developing.
Lots of potential there, but yeah, the analysis mentioned he can struggle under pressure, hasn't been consistently putting up points.
And then you've got the Commanders.
Much more balanced this season, offense and defense working together.
They seem to have a really solid game plan.
Their quarterback's playing smart, efficient. Not always flashy, but he's making good decisions. That's what matters.
It does, and I noticed the analysis really emphasized their run game.
Oh, it's the heart of their offense. They have these tough, physical runners controlling the clock, keeping their defense fresh. It's working for them.
So we've got the Steelers with that scary defense, the Commanders with their powerful run game. This is setting up for some intense matchups, right?
Oh, yeah, some real key battles within the battle. The analysis hones in on three: quarterback play, that run game, and then the defensive playmakers on each side.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's start with those quarterbacks. What are we looking at here?
Well, for the Steelers QB, it's all about handling that Commanders pass rush. Remember, that Commanders D-line, they create chaos.
He's going to need to make some quick decisions if he wants to stay upright.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Commanders QB going up against that turnover-creating machine that is the Steelers' defense.
They're known for forcing those game-changing mistakes.
They are. Those linebackers are lightning fast, always around the ball. If he gets rattled, it can be a long day.
High stakes for both QBs, then. Okay, now, let's talk about that battle in the trenches. The run game. The Steelers, they've been working on improving there, haven't they?
They have, and they need to. If they can get that run game going, it'll take a lot of pressure off the quarterback, control the clock, keep the defense fresh. That's the recipe.
But the Commanders, their defense is built to shut down the run.
Oh, yeah. Big, physical. They just swarm to the ball carrier. This is going to be a huge test for the Steelers' O-line. Talk about a clash of styles.
Speaking of clash of styles, that Commanders run game, the analysis really highlights how effective it's been.
It has been impressive. Those running backs are just relentless.
Yeah.
And they're going up against that famously physical Steelers front seven. Someone's got to give.
Okay, last key matchup. Those defensive playmakers. Sounds like we've got some potential game changers on both sides.
We do. For the Steelers, it's all about those linebackers. They fly around the field making tackles, just disrupting everything, the heart and soul of that defense.
And for the Commanders,
It's all about their defensive line. They're like a force of nature, constantly trying to get into the backfield, pressure the quarterback, force those fumbles.
all right, so we've got a good handle on the strengths and weaknesses, the key matchups to watch. Now let's get inside those coaches' heads. What kind of game plans are they likely to cook up?
Well, for the Steelers, I think defensively they're going to stick with what they know best. Pressure, pressure, pressure.
Lots of blitzes, you think?
Oh, absolutely. They'll try to rattle that Commanders quarterback, force him into bad decisions. Offensively, they'll probably try to establish a balanced attack, get that run game going to take some pressure off their QB, control the clock, keep their defense off the field. That's the key.
So controlled chaos for the Steelers. What about the Commanders? What's their approach going to be?
For them, it's all about controlling the game. They'll try to establish the run, grind down the clock, keep the Steelers' offense on the sidelines. They'll mix in some short, quick passes, keep the defense honest.
Smart.
And on defense, containment. They'll try to shut down that Steelers' run game, force them into passing situations.
So we're looking at a potential battle of attrition here. Two teams with very different strategies, but the same goal.
Wear the other team down, break their will.
Yeah. This game is more than just bragging rights, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. This one has huge playoff implications.
But it's getting real now. Let's talk about what a win would mean for each team. So the Steelers, a win keeps them right in that AFC playoff race, right?
It does. It would be a big statement win. Reinforce their status as a contender.
And for the Commanders.
Beating a team like the Steelers with their history, their legacy, would be a massive confidence booster. It would show that they're a legitimate threat.
Really put the rest of the league on notice.
Absolutely.
So high stakes for both teams. What about the bigger picture? How could this game impact the rest of the season?
Well, for the Steelers, a win keeps that momentum going. But a loss, especially if their offense struggles again, it could raise some doubts.
And for the Commanders?
A win, that would be huge. A real validation of all the progress they've made. A loss, well, not the end of the world, but it might slow down their roll a bit.
Okay, so no pressure or anything, but predictions. Who you got?
Man, that's a tough one. The Steelers, they've got the experience. That defense is just incredible. But the Commanders, they're playing with so much heart. That run game is a real problem for defenses. It's really too close to call.
I'm excited. This is going to be a great one. Two tough teams, both hungry for the win. So for our listener who's now basically an expert themselves, what should they be watching for? What's the key to unlocking this game?
That's a great question. For me, it all comes down to the trenches. Who controls the line of scrimmage? If the Steelers can disrupt that Commanders' run game and force them to pass, that could be huge. But if the Commanders can get that run game going, it could be a long day for the Steelers.
It's going to be a battle. I love it. All right. We're going to shift gears a little bit now. We've talked about the tactics, the players, but let's get into the heart and soul of these teams. Let's talk about team identity, how it plays out on the field.
That's where it gets really interesting.
It does. So the Steelers, you look at them and it's all about that steel curtain legacy, right?
It's more than just a name. It's their whole identity. Toughness, resilience, never giving an inch. It's in their DNA.
And the Commanders, This analysis talks about how they reflect that hardworking spirit of DC, you know?
It's a great comparison. They've had their struggles, but they keep coming back, building a solid team, a real reflection of their city.
Okay, so for someone new to football, how do they see these identities play out on the field? What are the signs?
Watch the little things, the body language. With the Steelers, watch how they swarm to the ball like a pack of wolves, just relentless.
And how they celebrate every stop, every tackle. It's like they just won the Super Bowl.
Exactly. It's that energy, that refusal to back down. It's classic Steelers. And the Commanders, watch how they control the line of scrimmage. It's slow, it's steady. It's like they're just grinding you down.
They just keep coming at you. It's that blue-collar mentality. Now, it's not just the players, right?
No, it's the whole organization. The coaches, the fans, they all feed into this.
The Steelers have a coach known for that defensive genius, that aggressive mindset.
And they're fans. They travel so well. They're loud. They're proud. It's like another player on the field.
And the Commanders, their coach, he's all about that team-first culture. And those fans, they're hungry for a winner.
Yeah, you can feel that energy, that belief in the team.
It's like more than just a game. It's a clash of cultures.
You got it. Two contrasting styles, two completely different identities. Can be electric.
It is. And it's not just about the present, is it? They're carrying the weight of history with them.
It's like you said, a clash of cultures. The Steelers, steeped in tradition. The Commanders, building new legacy. It's an ongoing story.
Okay, we've talked about the tactics, the coaches. Now let's get real. What's on the line here? What are the implications of this game?
Well, it's a divisional game, so it has major playoff implications. Every win matters, especially now.
Absolutely. So a Steelers win, what does that do for them?
Puts them in a great position for the playoffs, sends a message to the rest of the AFC. They're a force to be reckoned with.
And for the Commanders?
A win against the Steelers. That would be huge. It would show everyone that they're for real, a real contender, a statement win.
So the stakes are high. What about the ripple effects? How could this game affect the rest of the season?
Well, for the Steelers, a win keeps them on that playoff track. But a loss, especially if the offense doesn't show up, could be a real setback.
Makes you wonder about their ability to get it done.
Right. And for the Commanders, a win, it'd be a game changer. Real validation of their progress. But a loss, it might make them question if they're truly ready to compete at that level.
Interesting. Okay, I gotta ask, even though I know you don't have a crystal ball, any predictions? Who you got?
This is such a tough one. I mean, the Steelers, that experience, that defense. But the Commanders, they're playing with so much heart. That run game is tough to stop.
Yeah.
It's too close to call, honestly.
Oh, love it. A real nail biter. So for our listener, what's the key? What should they be watching for?
Watch the trenches. Who wins that battle at the line of scrimmage? If the Steelers can shut down the Commanders' run game, that could be the difference. But if the Commanders can run the ball effectively, it'll put a lot of pressure on the Steelers' offense.
The battle in the trenches. I love it. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit now.
Okay.
Talked about the tactics, the players, but let's get into the heart and soul of these teams. Let's talk about team identity, how it plays out on the field.
That's where it gets really interesting.
It does. So the Steelers, you look at them, and it's all about that steel curtain legacy, right?
No, it's more than just a name. It's their whole identity. Toughness, resilience, never giving an inch. It's in their DNA.
And the Commanders, this analysis talks about how they reflect that hardworking spirit of DC, you know?
It's a great comparison. They've had their struggles, but they keep coming back, building a solid team, a real reflection of their city.
Okay, so for someone new to football, how do they see these identities play out on the field? What are the signs?
Watch the little things, the body language. With the Steelers, watch how they swarm to the ball, like a pack of wolves, just relentless.
And how they celebrate every stop, every tackle. It's like they just won the Super Bowl.
Exactly. It's that energy, that refusal to back down. It's classic Steelers. And the Commanders, watch how they control the line of scrimmage. It's slow, it's steady, it's like they're just grinding you down.
They just keep coming at you. It's that blue-collar mentality. Now, it's not just the players, right?
No, it's the whole organization. The coaches, the fans, they all feed into this.
The Steelers have a coach known for that defensive genius, that aggressive mindset.
And they're fans. They travel so well, they're loud, they're proud. It's like another player on the field.
And the Commanders, their coach, he's all about that team-first culture.
Yeah.
And those fans, they're hungry for a winner.
Yeah, you can feel that energy, that belief in the team.
It's like more than just a game. It's a clash of cultures.
You got it.
Yeah.
Two contrasting styles, two completely different identities. Gonna be electric.
It is. And it's not just about the present, is it? They're carrying the weight of history with them.
It's like you said, a clash of cultures. The Steelers, steeped in tradition, the Commanders, building a new legacy. It's an ongoing story.
You hit the nail on the head. It's a reminder that in sports, just like in life, identity is always evolving. The Steelers, they're trying to maintain their dominance while the Commanders are trying to forge a new path. So we've got this incredible mix of experience and fresh energy.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
It is. All right, we've covered so much already, but we've got more to dive into. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Okay, so we left off talking about team identity. It really is fascinating how these two teams embody such different approaches to the game.
It is, right. Like we were saying, that the Steelers, they have that legacy of toughness, that steel curtain mentality.
Exactly. You can almost feel the presence of those past Steelers greats when this team takes the field.
Yeah.
It's like it's woven into their DNA.
And then you have the Commanders, who really reflect that hardworking spirit of DC. It's a team that seems to mirror the city it represents.
It's true. That never-give-up attitude, that resilience, you see it in their play and the way they approach the game.
So for someone who's maybe just getting into football, how can they actually see these identities in action on the field? What should they look for?
That's a good question. Well, I always tell people to pay attention to the little things, the body language, the energy of the players. With the Steelers, it's all about how they attack the ball. They swarm to it like a pack of wolves, just relentless in their pursuit.
And they celebrate every stop, every tackle like it's a game-winning play.
Exactly. They feed off each other's energy. That refusal to back down, that's classic Steelers. And then with the Commanders, watch how they control the line of scrimmage. It's methodical, it's steady, it's like they're wearing you down inch by inch with their physicality.
It's that blue-collar mentality, that relentless effort. They just keep coming at you.
It's beautiful to watch, isn't it? And of course, it's not just about the players.
Right, it's the whole organization. You've got the coaches, the fans. They all contribute to this team identity.
Absolutely. The Steelers, they have a coach who's known for his defensive brilliance. He instills that aggressive, take-no-prisoners mindset in his players.
And those Steelers fans, they're legendary. They travel well, they're loud, they're passionate. It's like they're an extension of the team on the field.
No doubt about it. And then you have the Commanders, with a coach who emphasizes teamwork and unity. They have a real sense of camaraderie.
And those fans, you can feel their energy, their hunger for success.
They're ready to embrace this new era of Commanders football.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. It's more than just a game, isn't it? It's like this clash of cultures, these two different identities going head to head.
You got it. It's going to be electrifying. And remember, these teams aren't just playing for themselves. They're carrying the weight of their history, their legacy.
It's true. You've got the Steelers, steeped in tradition, trying to maintain that dominance, and the Commanders working hard to build their own legacy.
Right. They're forging a new path, creating their own identity. It's a constant evolution.
Okay, so we've talked about those team identities, but let's bring it back to the here and now. What's at stake in this game? What are the real-world implications?
Well, it's a divisional game, so the playoff picture is definitely a factor. Every win is crucial at this point in the season.
Absolutely. So let's break it down. A win for the Steelers, what does that mean for them?
A win keeps them right in the thick of the AFC playoff race. It sends a strong message to the rest of the conference. Don't count them out.
And for the Commanders, what would a victory mean for their season?
Beating a team like the Steelers. That would be a huge statement win. It would show the league that they're legitimate contenders, not just a team on the rise.
It would definitely shake things up.
No doubt. It would put everyone on notice.
Okay, so the stakes are high. But what about the ripple effects beyond this one game? How could a win or a loss impact the rest of the season for each team?
Well, for the Steelers, a win would build momentum and reinforce their image as a top contender. But a loss, if their offense continues to struggle, could raise some serious doubts.
Yeah, it could create some pressure, maybe even some internal questions about their ability to get it done in the playoffs.
Exactly. And for the Commanders, a win would be transformative. You would validate all the progress they've made, boost their confidence, and maybe even ignite a serious playoff push. A loss wouldn't be devastating, but it might make them question whether they're truly ready to compete with the big boys.
Okay, so much to think about. Now, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I have to ask, any predictions for this game? Who do you see coming out on top?
Man, this one's a real toss-up. You've got the Steelers with their experience and that incredible defense, but the Commanders are playing with so much heart and determination, and their run game is a force to be reckoned with. It's really too close to call.
The suspense is killing me. But that's what makes it so exciting. Two tough teams, two contrasting styles, both hungry for the win. This is going to be a battle.
It definitely is. It's a clash of styles, a test of wills, and a showcase of two teams that represent the best of what football is all about.
I love it. Okay, so for our listeners who are now armed with all this incredible insight, what's the one thing they should watch for? The key to unlocking the mystery of this game?
That's a great question. For me, it all comes down to the battle in the trenches. Who controls the line of scrimmage? If the Steelers can disrupt the Commanders' running game, force them into passing situations, that could be the difference maker. But if the Commanders can impose their will up front and get those running backs going, it'll put a ton of pressure on the Steelers' offense. Whoever wins that battle in the trenches, I think, wins the game.
The battle in the trenches, it's often overlooked, but it's absolutely crucial.
It's the foundation of everything else that happens on the field. If you control the line of scrimmage, you control the pace of the game, the flow of the game. And in this matchup, it's going to be a fascinating battle to watch.
I can already picture those collisions, those battles for every inch of turf. It's going to be epic.
And it's not just about brute strength. It's about technique, leverage, and most importantly, grit and determination.
Speaking of digging deep and pushing limits, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about something that the analysis highlighted. Momentum swings. These big games, these clashes of titans, often come down to a few key moments, those crucial plays that shift the tide. Let's break that down for our listeners. What are those momentum-shifting moments we should be watching for?
You're absolutely right. Momentum is such a powerful force in football. It can completely change the energy of a game in an instant. And in a matchup like this, where you have two evenly matched teams, those momentum swings could be even more crucial.
So what are those specific moments that we should be on the lookout for?
Well, turnovers are always a big one. A big turnover, especially early in the game, can completely shift the momentum. It can give one team a sudden surge of energy while deflating the other.
Yeah, you can almost feel the energy shift in the stadium after a big turnover. The crowd goes wild. The players on the field feed off of that energy. It's palpable.
Absolutely. Another thing to watch for is big plays on special teams. A blocked punt, a long return, a clutch field goal. These are the kinds of plays that can really ignite a team and swing the momentum in their favor.
Special teams are often overlooked, but they can be absolutely game-changing.
They can, for sure. And then, of course, there are those explosive plays on offense and defense. A long touchdown pass, a crucial interception, a game-saving sack. Those are the moments that get everyone on their feet, that inject a jolt of energy into the game and often swing the momentum in a major way.
It's like the entire game can hinge on those pivotal moments. They can change the whole narrative of the matchup.
You said it. And the analysis you sent over also talks about the psychological impact of these momentum swings, how they can affect a team's confidence and belief. That's something I think is really interesting to consider.
Yeah, let's dig into that a bit. How does momentum play into that mental game of football?
It's huge. When a team has the momentum, they're playing with confidence, they're aggressive, they're not afraid to take risks, they believe they can make those big plays. And when a team loses momentum, it can have a real snowball effect. They start to doubt themselves, they get hesitant, and they make more mistakes.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The team with the momentum feels invincible, and the team that's lost it feels like everything is going wrong.
It really is like that, and that's why those momentum-shifting plays are so important. They can have a massive impact on a team's mindset, their belief in themselves, and their ability to execute under pressure.
So it's a mental battle as much as a physical one.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, how can they spot those momentum shifts during the game? What are the telltale signs that the tide is turning?
That's a great question.
Well, one thing to look at is the body language of the players. A team that's gaining momentum will have a certain swagger and energy about them. They'll be celebrating their successes, and they'll be feeding off the energy of the crowd. Conversely, a team that's losing momentum will often look deflated. Their heads will be down, they'll be making more mistakes, and their communication might break down.
It's like you can almost feel the energy shift in the stadium. The crowd gets louder, the players on the field get more amped up, and that momentum just keeps building.
Precisely. And another thing to pay attention to is the play calling. A team with momentum will often be more aggressive, taking more risks, trying to make those big plays that can extend their lead. And a team that's lost momentum will often become more conservative, trying to avoid mistakes and just hoping to hang on.
So it's about watching those subtle shifts in the game, paying attention to the energy, the play calling, the reactions of the players.
Exactly. Those are the clues that can tell you which way the momentum is swinging. And in a game like this, where the teams are so evenly matched, those shifts in momentum could very well determine the outcome.
This is also insightful. I feel like I'm getting a masterclass in football strategy. Now, from a coaching perspective, how do you actually manage momentum during a game? Is it something you can control, or is it more about reacting to the flow of the game?
That's a great question. Managing momentum is a huge part of coaching. It's a delicate balance of strategy, psychology, and a little bit of luck. As a coach, you're always trying to create opportunities for your team to seize momentum, whether it's through your play calling, substitutions, or just keeping your players focused and energized. But you also have to be ready to react to the ebb and flow of the game. You can't script everything.
So it's a constant dance between being proactive and reactive.
Exactly. And it's also about understanding your team and your opponent. What are their strengths and weaknesses? What are the key moments that could trigger a momentum swing? And how can you position your team to capitalize on those moments or mitigate the damage when things aren't going your way?
It sounds like there's a real art to managing momentum.
There definitely is. It's one of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of coaching. And in a game like this, where you have two evenly matched teams with so much on the line, it could be the key to victory.
I love this. It adds a whole new level of intrigue to the game. Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to those team identities we discussed earlier. We talked about the Steelers' legacy of defensive dominance, that steel curtain identity, and the Commanders' embodiment of that hardworking, never-give-up spirit. How do you think those identities will manifest themselves in this particular game? What should our listeners be watching for to see how those identities play out on the field?
I'm so glad you brought that up. It's about looking beyond the stats and the plays and seeing the heart and soul of these teams. For the Steelers, I think it's going to be about their defensive intensity. They're going to come out hitting, trying to establish their dominance early on. They'll be relentless in their pursuit of the quarterback, and they'll swarm to the ball carrier on every play. They want to make it clear that they're the ones setting the tone.
Like they're trying to impose their will on the Commanders, make them feel that steel curtain pressure.
Exactly. They want to dictate the terms of the game, turn it into a physical, gritty battle. And for the Commanders, I think it's going to be about their resilience. They're going to face adversity in this game. They're going to get hit hard. They're going to make mistakes. But they'll keep coming back. They'll keep fighting. They'll keep believing. They won't back down.
They'll try to wear down the Steelers, break their will with their relentless effort.
And that's what makes this matchup so captivating. It's a classic clash of styles. The immovable object versus the unstoppable force. It's a testament to the beauty and complexity of football.
I'm already getting chills just thinking about it. Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder as they watch this epic showdown unfold.
Ooh, I like this. Lay it on me.
We've talked about so much. Team identities, key matchups, momentum swings, the mental game, the strategic battles between coaches. But ultimately, this game comes down to one fundamental question. Which team's identity, the Steelers' legacy of defensive dominance or the Commanders' hardworking and never-give-up spirit, will be the deciding factor?
That is the question, isn't it? And honestly, I don't have the answer. It's going to be a battle of wills, a test of character, and a showcase of two teams that represent the very essence of what makes football such a compelling sport.
I love it. It's going to be a game for the ages. So for our listeners, we want to hear from you. Head over to our social media pages and let us know which team you think will come out on top and why. We can't wait to see what happens on the field.
It's going to be a classic, that's for sure. A real clash of styles, a true test of those team identities. Can't wait.
Me neither. All right, so for everyone listening, getting ready to watch this game, what's that one thing they should be watching for? That little hint that tells them which way this game is going to swing. What's the key, in your expert opinion?
Ooh, that's a great question. You know, for me, it always comes back to the trenches. Can the Steelers' D-line, they're ferocious. Can they disrupt that Commanders' run game? That's the bread and butter for the Commanders, controlling the clock, wearing down the opponent.
So if the Steelers shut that down early, it's going to be a long day for the Commanders.
Exactly. But, flip side, if the Commanders' O-line holds strong, give those running backs some room to run, that puts the pressure right back on the Steelers.
Yeah, that young quarterback, the offense, they haven't always been consistent.
Right. It'll be a real test for them.
Like that old saying, offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships.
It's true. And in this game, it's going to be a battle to see who comes out on top. Well,
Man, I'm so hyped for this game. We've covered so much in this deep dive, the team identities, the key matchups. I feel like our listeners are going to be dropping knowledge bombs all game long.
haha, they'll be the most informed fans in the room, that's for sure.
That's the goal. All right, but before we say goodbye, one last thing to think about as you're watching this epic clash go down. We've talked about the Steelers' defensive legacy, that steel curtain, and the Commanders with that never-give-up attitude. Which of those identities do you think will be the deciding factor?
Man, that's a tough one. It really shows you what makes football so great, how these intangible things can play such a big role. The Steelers shutting everything down, the Commanders just refusing to quit. It's impossible to say for sure, and that's what makes this matchup so awesome.
A real clash of philosophies. It's going to be a game for the ages, and we can't wait to see how it unfolds.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Steelers versus Commanders game. You are now officially prepped to enjoy the game like a pro. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.